It was in 1996 in Malawi, a small country in sub-Saharan Africa. During this time, Malawi had the highest rates of HIV and AIDS, one of the highest globally, and a lot of people were dying. As a young teenager living in the city, for the first parts, I was somehow shielded from all that was happening. And I didn't feel that affected, and I didn't know much about HIV and AIDS. But things changed. In the years leading to 1996, because we lived in the city, would find that all our relatives who fell ill would come to the city in order to access medical help from the better hospitals. And a lot of them died. First was my Uncle Jacob, a prolific farmer. I remember him, he came in very sick. I remember my dad and my brother carrying him from the back of the pickup truck, carrying him from his mattress, which was used to cushion him as he drove from the village. Uncle Jacob died within 5 days from coming from hospital. I remember the day he arrived, though, he was telling my dad that the reason why he was sick and he was dying was because God was punishing him for his sins. That sort of confused me. Then next up, who came in was Aunt Mercy. And I was saying to myself, surely Aunt Mercy is not a sinner. Aunt Mercy always got me gifts every time I went and visited her. I was really getting confused, and everyone who I would talk to would always tell me that, oh, this is because it's witchcraft. That's why someone has been bewitched, because maybe they're doing well in business, and that's why they're dying. And I took it upon myself to research more, to read, and this was at age 13. I would go to the library and read about HIV and AIDS. I even remember listening to a radio show, the only health radio show on radio, at 6, it used to come at 6:30, so I was the only one who would listen because everyone was having supper. Then it was Uncle Emmanuel. Uncle Emmanuel didn't make it to the city. He died while in the village before he could be transported. And a few days after his funeral, his wife, Aunt Chrissy, came home to access medical care because she was also sick, and so was her 2-month baby boy. I remember this day. It was one hot afternoon in October. My mom told me to go and give Aunt Chrissy her medication. So I left the main house and went to the guest room where all our visitors would go. And at that time, me and my siblings started calling the guest room the death room. I remember as I walked to the room, I was thinking I couldn't stand seeing another sick relative on their deathbed, but I went. I knocked on the door and a faint voice beckoned me in. There was Aunt Chrissy. This was not the same Aunt Chrissy I'd seen a year ago. She was very frail and very thin. With my medication in one hand and a glass of water in the other, I walked slowly into this dim lit room because the curtains were all drawn. Aunt Mercy sat on one bed, leaning close to the fan because she was feeling hot, and I'm sure the fan was blowing warm air. On the next bed was her son, without his clothes, sweating profusely. As I gave Aunt Mercy the medication, she drank it and then she started talking. And she said, "This is all my fault. I am the one who has killed my husband, and I'm the one who has made myself and my son ill. I shouldn't have taken that piece of land from my grandparents. That's why my relatives are bewitching me. My husband warned me, but I didn't listen." And this is when it dawned to me that the reason why a lot of people are dying because of HIV and AIDS in my country is because of the ignorance and lack of knowledge around HIV and AIDS. And from that day on, I dedicated my career, my life, to share knowledge, to work with communities, to ensure that the quality of their life is improved, their health is improved. And that's why I'm in South Sudan at this moment doing the same thing, so that no one else can die of guilt like Aunt Chrissy. Thank you.